Welcome back to Nordic Championship. It's time for Game 2 between Ventus Esports and Ostersunds FK. Game 1 was a sweeping victory for Ventus Esports, but Ostersunds FK still have a lot of things up their sleeve.
Yeah, they definitely show that they could do some good things, and I'd like to go with an analogy to explain what happened for Östersund in Game 1.
Oh, do tell.
You remember when you were a kid and you really wanted something?
Yeah.
So for me, that was the samurai Lego castle. There's this
Okay.
big castle
Well,
with
this
samurai.
is going to be quite a long one, isn't it?
Quite a long one. We'll see how it
all right,
flies.
go ahead.
So there's this samurai castle in Lego that I really want.
All right.
So I go for years wishing for it. Mom, Dad, can I please get the samurai Lego castle?
How many years?
A couple of years, maybe 2 or 3.
All right, because I thought you were going to be like, you were a grown-up, you were an adult, like, oh, but
Yeah,
can I please
I'm 25 and going and
25?
wishing for that.
No, you're 25, get out of our house, you know? Okay, no, sorry,
No,
sorry, I
so I'm
interrupted.
going and wishing for that Lego castle. I want the samurai. I'm going for several years. Like, oh, can I please get it? And then I finally get it, and then I realize, oh, I won't be able to put this together because it's so difficult. That's
Okay.
what happened for us to
All
start
right.
game number 1.
All right.
They were just wishing, oh, can we just get like a 5-0 Yasuo after 15
Yeah,
minutes? Can we
please.
just get like all the hard engaged champions in the game and then just a Yasuo that's really fed? And they got it. They got exactly what
Yeah,
they wanted.
they did, absolutely.
And then they weren't able to execute. Like, they were not able to put
No.
all of these beautiful samurai castle pieces together.
So for this draft, I want to see them to go with a similar team composition, but with an easier way to engage, because Marcoon on the Gragas, on paper, should absolutely have worked. You run in with all of the extra mobility that you have, you get a good flank, you get your ultimate off, you find just any priority pick, really, apart from sleeping, and you're able to do something with that fight, and you open up the map for Marcoon to go in, for Unforgiven for these fights. Now, we'll see what happens. The Thresh and the Lee Sin are banned on the side of Ostersunds FK, and Ventus Esports going with the ban on Cartus and the Zoe.
So 2 picks that are standing out to me for last draft was first the Lucian, which was open for the entire first half of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
And both teams elected not to pick it. It's not really a crystalline champion. I mean, he can play the Lucian for sure, but it's not known as a Lucian player.
Yeah.
But Unforgiven chose to go with a Sivir instead, which kind of made sense with their comp. So still Lucian's going to be open this draft as well. The other pick I was going to mention is the Corki, which Briscorn has been putting out some very good results on in several games, and it's something that they can definitely blind pick as well. He's a very blind pickable mid laner.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just in the hands of Priest Konet, it's such a consistent, such a reliable pick that he can always fall back on. We saw him die 1 versus 1 versus Adept. He didn't respect the matchup, and then nothing happened, really. Adept got this huge lead, and nothing happened. Really, Adept kept going 1 versus 1 with Priest Konet, and nothing happened over and over again. And we do not want to see the same game. For this game, Kristan wants to show you that you are wrong.
Yeah, he's just saying, Henning, I can play the Lucian. And I don't
Lucian player.
doubt that he can play the Lucian. I don't think it's really his style. He likes the mages, he likes the Ezreal, but he can for sure play the Lucian. And I'd love to see this paired up with an aggressive support from Quickset. I was going to mention something along the lines of an Alistar that can really make the engages happen. But the Shen, especially if you got the flash available, can make the engages happen. And it's also able to be flexed into the top lane, although you won't have too good of a time into the Jace.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Quickset on this Shen worked wonders in Game 1, could definitely work in Game 2. A couple of times I was worried about the Shen pick because the Stand United isn't as strong when used only as the extra shield. It's a very long cooldown for just having that extra shield on you, and if you get bursted instantly, well, yeah, that's it. But Ostersunds FK weren't able to really burst anyone before the Shen managed to arrive, before the rest team arrived, and a lot of times they just felt they were holding back, like trying to save abilities, or they were just overcommitting, like catching, sleeping, and then using every single ability, every single summoner spell that they could find just to make sure, is he dead? Did we get him? So for this time around, I want to see them play a little bit differently. Now Unforgiven on the Ezreal and the Sejuani for Marcoon, which I like so much more than the Gragas.
Yeah, I gotta say I like this comp from Östersund so far. They've taken the best parts of the comp that Ventus had. So they're taking both the Jace and the Ezreal, but then they're picking a jungler, which makes more sense with his poking duo, a very tanky frontliner that has a lot of peel. It's really hard to get through a Sejuani if she's standing in front of her carries. On the other hand, though, there is the Corki, which I mentioned, such a big pick for Priscant. I was just going to say the LeBlanc as an option for Adept here, but they are choosing to ban away that for Ventus. I think that is a very good choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Also a very strong mid-game for Ventus Esports with both having Lucian and Corki and Shen in their team. And we'll see the LeBlanc ban, as you mentioned, the Nocturne ban yet again versus Maid. We'll see here the Rise ban for Ventus Esports as well.
Yeah, the reason they're banning Nocturne here is because Shen is already locked in, and that is such a strong duo there when it comes to finding these engages. So I like that getting banned away. Still would love to see Maid on some sort of a carry jungler here. Could still, of course, just go with the Olaf, and you've already got a good set of engaging.
Didn't do that well on his Olaf.
Yeah, he
though.
wasn't great on the Olaf in last game.
I mean, he did what he was supposed to. He got the objectives, but he got that on top of Marcoon being on the other side of the map, which meant that no matter really which champion he had, as long as he was able to just solo a Rift Herald or solo a Dragon or something like that, then the same thing would have happened. Right, especially with having Sleeping on his side
Nidalee
as well. But Maid is going for Nidalee this time around, and we're finally going to see this epic champion pick for this player.
I've talked so much about Nidalee for Maid. It's like the almost like the Veigar for Crystal. It's like really
exactly
a champion that.
But you remember what happened when we saw the game?
Yeah, he was not great on
Crystal
Veigar.
was able to play Veigar though, so you remember that one.
I do. And there's going to be a Vladimir, which can still be a flex pick into either Adept or Crycy. I was going to say even to Unforgiven, but that's not true since it's already got the Ezreal. So
yeah, exactly.
Going to be able to flex these solo lanes and wait around. Vladimir and Jace both have great lanes into the Shen, so I suspect this Shen to go towards the bottom side and then for Sleeping to pick a top laner here other than the Shen. And there is going to be the Rakan for Shred, which you've seen earlier on in the tournament, did not do that well when we saw him on this
exactly. I mean, the problem with Rakan is that if you're not really on point with your engages and you manage to land your CC on the correct targets, you get bursted instantly. You really don't have any survivability at all. So it's a dangerous pick, but definitely works out if you're able to get that big combo off. And in game one, Ostersunds FK didn't really managed to get those combos. Finally, we're going to mention the last pick now for Ventus Esports. It's the Urgot versus Jace up top lane. But I want to continue talking about Ostersunds FK a little bit more, because what was worrying us so much in game one was that they got everything they wanted. They got all the kills on Adept. Adept even picked up solo kills.
They got the Samurai Castle.
Yeah, they got the Samurai Castle. Okay, we're just going to keep on with this analogy, aren't we? All right, so they got the Samurai Castle. They have all the little flags and little banners and stuff and like that. And then they're like, I'm a 25-year-old man, and I don't know what to do with this Samurai Castle. And so they sort of just throw the Samurai Castle away. Or this was what you were saying.
Yeah, they were just trying to put the pieces together, but it didn't make sense, and they were not able to pull it off according to the instructions.
Yeah, exactly. So not being able to read the instructions did not really make it work, even though they got everything they wanted. For this game, going with Rakan, I am a little bit worried that they're going to go yet again using all of their summoner spells, all of their abilities to get one pick maybe on like anyone on Sleeping again, and then for the rest of the fight, they just don't really have any of those key abilities left to fight with. And that is something that keeps worrying me. We're coming into game 2 now. It's a best of 3, and Ostersunds FK really need to show up for this game to still be in this semi-final. On the other hand, Ventus Esports are looking stronger than ever.
Yeah, what I'm worried about for Ostersund now is specifically the early game, because you are picking Rakan Ezreal, not a very strong 2 versus 2 lane, into maybe the strongest laner there is in the Lucian, together with the Shen, who is an aggressive support, and in the jungle. There's such a big mismatch. There's the farming for late game, sort of frontlining supportive Sejuani versus this big, aggressive early game carry that's going to be invading 24/7, and it's on a player who really is known for his Nidalee play in Maid. So I am worried for the early game for Östersund, specifically in the bottom lane, in the jungle, but also in the mid lane. You've got a Vladimir, and he's not going to be doing too much early on. He's going to be getting pushed in against this Corki and be having a really bad time early on. So I am worried for Östersund early on. But Ventus, if they're not able to snowball, they can face some problems if this game goes late.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now it's up to Kreis to show that he also knows how to play the Jace. I mean, Sleeping for game 1, when the team was falling behind and Sleeping had died so many times, he was still able to keep the pressure on, which allowed the rest of his team to just do whatever they wanted on the map, to get any objective, really, and to set up all that vision around Baron and such. So this is something still that can be done. with the Jace versus the Urgot, but it's a different matchup, of course, as Urgot is not as susceptible to the early harass that a Jace has in comparison to what Sion can do versus this champion.
So what I'm a little worried about here is Adept going with the Ignite once more. Sure, he was able to make a lot of good plays in the 1 versus 1 in last game. Vladimir, however, a champion that can't really outplay in the same way a Yasuo can, especially early on in the laning phase. And what really made him struggle last game was actually not having the TP, so he was not able to go to the bottom lane to contest sleeping. I think if he would have had TP on the Yasuo, not saying it would have been a great pick because Ignite was what allowed him to snowball, but the lack of TP made it so he could not go and split versus sleeping last time. Now he's running a champion who really likes the TP and the Vladimir, but he does not have it, so he's not going to be able to go for that split push later on with the TP to be able to join in with the team. So might be just having to be forced to stay in the team fights as this Vladimir.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And how much do you think you're going to be able to do with a Ignite on a Vladimir, like you said, without having the early game power spike on that champion? Priesthood, on the other hand, going with the Cleanse this time around. A little bit worried about the Glacial Prison from Marcoon. Speaking of Marcoon, on the top side has been spotted on this ward. Made so far, just farming his jungle, making sure he gets the double buff. Expecting Made to be quite aggressive on this Nidalee in this matchup versus the Sejuani.
So we mentioned this earlier on in the tournament when we saw Nidalee being played by Celestial Gaming and having a great early game on that champion. You really need to get going in the snowball, and what happened in Celestial Gaming's game was that they got 3 kills on the Nidalee early on, and then she just took over the game. There was nothing the opposing team could do into that very strong cat lady.
Yeah, exactly. They never let up on the pressure.
For sure. So that's something that Made needs to do here. He needs to get a lead. But on this Nidalee, I trust that he can get a lead. He's going to be securing the bottom lane scuttle, and then maybe look for an invade on the bottom side of the map. So far, not been able to punish Marcoon. He's actually invading himself on the top side of Made's jungle.
Yeah, Marcoon is playing this, I think, the best way that you can versus a jungler that wants to invade you. Just simply, she's going to trade jungle. I'm going to go to the top side instead, knowing that you're on the bot side, and now going to find the gank on Sleeping again, because I know that Sleeping loves to be ganked. That's the first blood pickup. Down bot lane, though, taunt on Shred, and now again, showing what we talked about earlier, this is such a dangerous...
They can dive him.
Yeah, this is dangerous bot lane to be playing Ezreal and Rakan versus the Lucian and the Shen. And you just said it, Unforgiven definitely can't be dove down bot side. He should know that Made is on the bot side. This should have been called out. He is hit by the spear under the turret, and he tries to get away, but he absolutely cannot. Quickset tanking a little bit, but not taking any damage to be talking about. Those are 2 quick pickups for the bot lane, Priestland and Quickset.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be hit by Nidalee Spears when you've got the Ezreal E to be able to dodge away from that. And Crystalline gets a tower plate and forces Unforgiven to buy Cull and a Fairy Charm. This is not the buy you want in a lane that you're already starting to lose when you know you will get out-pressured in the jungle matchup 1v1 just because of the champions. Unforgiven is forced to go for a very weak early buy, while Crystalline is going to be getting a lot of early power here with his first purchase. So the bottom lane mismatch that was going on earlier is just going to get even bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. With the Bilgewater Cutlass also can set up so well for the Shen taunt.
Visual
I think
bug here.
this is visual bug. Yeah, I don't think
bush.
Marcoon actually standing out in the open is like, what's up, man? No, he's inside that bush. Now moving forward, finding the flash and getting Sleeping CC'd. And yet again, this is definitely going to be a kill. We've seen this so many times before as Christ gets the auto attacks off and picks up Sleeping yet again. Both of these teams playing around their strong lanes, as you like to talk about.
Yeah, that is a very good point there. Marcoon knows that he has the winning top lane, so he's playing a lot around that, while Made knows that he has pressure in the bottom side, and that's where he's going. And there we might have a bit of a technical issue as the game is paused by Ventus Esports. Speaking more about Sleeping, though, this is the 2nd game in a row where he both burns Flash and dies on the first gank, and that's really not something that you want to happen. You usually either burn the Flash or get killed, not both of them.
Yeah. And Sleeping has been talking about not being in the best shape maybe for this tournament. And still, I want to give it to him that he has been able to do a lot with what he was given, or rather what he was giving himself in Game 1 on the Jace. But this time he's on an Urgot. And falling behind versus this Jace is not going to mean that he can just keep pushing, that he can outscale, that he can just keep getting turrets, putting down pressure on the map in a similar way that he did in Game 1. This is a lot more difficult for him falling behind in this matchup, I would say.
Yeah, and speaking more about how he fell behind in the first game, it was a lot due to the team as well. They spotted out Marcoon on the bottom side, and still they spotted him out not being on the bottom side, so they know he's on the top side. Sleeping still died to the gank, and that's just what happened here as well. May just dove bottom lane. They know for sure that Marcoon is not down there, and they still died in the top side. So that is, of course, both due to Sleeping maybe not respecting it, but also the team not making the decisive call where the enemy jungler is.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I hope whatever issues I think Sleeping had will be resolved. I think he might have experienced a little bit of lag up there. Not explaining, though, why he's always overpushed in the lane.
Yeah, gotta say that while we're bashing on him, he also made some very good plays last game around.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
He died a lot, but he also made a lot of pressure happen on towards the map. Got the split push down, got several. I mean, you talked about it's got so many towers as well as the inhibs.
I mean, we have talked a lot about we talked a lot about his strong points as well. He definitely got it. I just, from time to time, looking at this, just wish that he wouldn't die these many times in the early game, because he's such a strong player, and I expect more from a player of his caliber.
Yeah,
that's
I
all
agree
that
with
I'm
you
saying.
right there. And this is going to be more tower plates going down to the bottom side of the map. So Made really playing around the strong side, first diving bottom lane, then getting the Infernal Dragon. And you can see their vision. 4 control wards in the bottom side river. They know which lane is strong. They know which lane needs to snowball, and that is just what they're doing right here. 3 tower plates went down there. Most of that solo gold onto Crysland on this Lucian, who's so strong compared to Unforgiven, who's not been able to go for the early Sheen that gives you a lot of early game power. Instead gone Tyr and Cull. He's just going to be hugging his tower and being so scared, and Made is stealing away the entire enemy bottom side. These junglers are really playing around the strong side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, Made is doing whatever he wants with this bottom jungle half. A good control ward is going to spot him out if he tries to go for another turret dive like he did earlier, but he's going to be spotted now taking the Krogs. Marcoon on top side wants to go for a dive, maybe. It's a bit more difficult versus Urgot once he gets level 6. I don't think that they will dare to dive, but Sleeping won't even be sticking around. It's going to fall back, sacrifice his top turret. Focus, of course, will be to trade turrets, getting the first tower blood down bot side. No response from Ostersunds FK means that this turret is just a few more attacks from falling. It's Made is there with the Nidalee. Nidalee has so much pushing power when it comes to sieging turrets like this. Having the extra range, having the extra auto attack speed, and it should definitely be the first turret blood on bot lane. No level 6 for Shred or Unforgiven, and that is the turret. Gonna trade up top side. Actually not even gonna be able to, as the turret platings give a little bit too much resistance to the turret for Christ and Marcoon to finish off on their own. That is also a big strong point for the Nidalee.
Yeah, so you can see both Marcoon and Made here. What they're doing right now is something that you can really learn from if you're a player that yourself that like to play jungle. This is something that you need to think about in your solo queue games. Always be thinking about which is my strong side, where are my winning lanes. You see that Crystal and Quickset have a very beneficial matchup and they're winning, while Christ also has a good matchup and is winning. So they're just going to that side of the map. A lot of people in lower elos are of the belief that I need to help whoever's losing on my team, but that's really not true. You need to play around who's winning so that you can transition that lane lead to getting objectives, and that's just what they've been getting, both Infernal Dragon and bottom lane tower for Ventus, and almost a top lane tower for Ostersunds SK.
Yeah, absolutely. Since FK also not being able to secure that turret, and Griezlin and Quickset being able to get the quicker rotation, means that they are here also to deny any more damage on those platings. So they have pretty big lead so far. Now sending Price down bot lane and Sleeping as well. Unforgiven and Shred, they're not having the best game. Unforgiven is stuck on some uncomfortable items, as he was also forced to recall because of that turret kill down bot lane. He was instantly had to go back to be able to cover top lane and defend that turret. He's stuck on the pickaxe versus the finished Blade of the Ruined King on Griezlin.
Yeah, he's so strong on this Lucian as well. Maybe the strongest champion in the game. I've said that quite a few times, but I really believe that he is. And this transition to the top side is really beneficial for Ventus, because what usually happens is the team with pressure on the top side gets the Rift Herald, and the team with the pressure on the bottom side gets the Dragon. But Ventus already got the Dragon before Herald spawns. It obviously spawns at 10 minutes. And then they've swapped top side when the Dragon is down and Rift Herald is just going to be spawning. So those objectives works out really well for Ventus, since they're able to get the first blood tower so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you
also
look at the damage
yeah,
on Shred. Wow.
I saw it. That is one piercing light and 2 auto attacks, and Shred instantly has to back off. And It's not looking too good for this bot lane right now, as Ostersunds FK are falling behind quite a bit. Different game, but this is what you talked about. This is what we expect to see here from Made. As soon as his bot lane is having priority, he is going to get the Rift Herald as well, and that will break open the top side of the map as well.
Oh, the Shenalty goes down
actually,
sleeping.
going for this fight. Glacial Prison is going to land on Sleeping, but Sleeping survives it this time, or is he going to go down? Exhaust lands on Kreis, and Kreis now needs to run away just a little bit. Sleeping going back yet again. Already used his ultimate, so no way that he can snipe anyone. Quickseth going low with this, and up top side. That's the Rift Herald being deployed. This turret is going to fall most definitely. I don't think there's anything that Shred and Unforgiven can do, even in a 2 versus 2. So yeah, a turret falling, down bot lane, also a turret not going to die down there. No attempt for... I thought Adept was going bot lane. And yeah, again, this is another problem we see here. Marcoon now knowing that Made is up top side, that Adept is in the mid lane. There was a recall from Priestkunet as well. Still not putting any pressure on the Dragon, just going back into his jungle to farm.
Yeah, I can see Sejuani Lucian really not the strongest duo when it comes to taking down those towers. Not been able to get any tower on the top or bottom side of the map. And lane we've not talked that much about is mid. And when you know where the enemy junglers are, you pretty much have them guaranteed on the top and bot side respectively. These mid laners can do whatever they want in the 1 versus 1. And what's happened is that Adept has been trying to put on the pressure, but Priestkunet has just not been caring about that. He's just been farming. And he's a few CS ahead, and more importantly, he's been able to stack up that call, while Adept has been always under so much pressure there from Crystalline.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the power from a fed Lucian. He's 2 kills up, 123 CS. He has the most CS of anyone in the game, together with all of those turret platings that he has gotten, together with all the global goals he's been able to get from these turrets. I mean, this is just such a strong Lucian in the mid game where he's at his strongest as well. So yeah, this is dangerous right now. There's a lot of more objectives on the map, and Ventus Esports has shown time and time again that they are very good at securing those.
And you can see how Crystal and Quixis are roaming around on the map. They are always where the big objectives is. Here's the one we won though. Adept does not have the Proto Belt.
Yeah, Adept tries to go for an engage, flashing forward yet again, and Priestkunet. This is the second time we see a similar thing happen, but this time he's able to flash away, just barely surviving, using the cleanse to get rid of the ignite. The dragon control now, we talked about it a little bit earlier, Made making sure to pick up that dragon as it was just sitting there waiting to be shooed up by the Cougar in the jungle, now pushing down the mid lane as well.
Yeah, and you can see how Crystal and Quixith are moving on the map. They're always where the objective is. So first to go bottom lane when they take the tower bottom and the dragon. Then they go up to the top lane when Rift Herald is next objective. And now they're mid lane when mid lane tower is the tower that's up and there's also the dragon. So they are doing what Ostersund could not. They were not able last game to get Adept on this Fed Lucian where it mattered. While Ventus, they do know how to put together their Samurai Castle. They do know where their players should be, and Crystal and Quixith have been in the correct position this entire game, and if this keeps going, they're just going to be getting further and further ahead, and this mid lane tower is soon going to be taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, I agree with you. Adept on this super fed Yasuo that he had last game was not able to rotate the map and help to secure those objectives, but
here comes
Marcoon
Marcoon
is doing exact that. Marcoon has arrived, but same thing can be said for Quickseth and Made, chasing down Marcoon. Marcoon flashing away, but nowhere to flash to. Teleports coming in from both sides, and Price not really wanting this fight right now, needs to run away. That was a bit dangerous. It looks like he's going to be slow. Going to flash away. Shred just arrives to make sure the rest of his team gets away, but those are quite a few summoner spells used. Marcoon and Kreis flashing away. Kreis also using his teleport to get in.
And I love how Ventus are using the Stand United from Quickseth. A lot of teams just use the Shenalty to jump in and save someone who's messed up. So, okay, we're just saving the Shenalty until someone is out of position and then he can come in and save them. But Ventus, no, they're always making proactive plays with the Shenalty available. You can see Priestkunet using the package to go in because he knew the Stand United was there. And when Marcoon showed up, Maid did as well, and he is 30 CS up on this Nidalee. He's 1-0-1. He is pretty far ahead. So that means a lot of gold goes to them in the top side fight and through the mid lane tower. 5,000 gold now at 15 minutes. And Adept.
Oh, Adept in danger. Priestkunet can't tank forever. Has to back off. Still happy to deny all of this CS from Adept. But yeah, I agree with you what you said right there. I mean, the best teams use Stand United proactively, knowing what you want to do with it, not just reacting to someone messing up. Ventus, they're just doing that. Playing really well with Quickset on this Shen. And for last game, I was a little bit worried about the Shen falling behind, but for this game, they're just playing it exactly the way that they want to.
Absolutely the big goal lead right now.
Oh.
Crystalline sleeping and dying to Marku, name a more iconic duo.
Sleeping, face checking in the bush, even getting chased down right here, but this is another situation we've seen so many times before. Quickness is going to be used, but Shred just using it way too late, holding on to their abilities. Now the taunt over the wall and the kill to Made. Christ can't 1 versus 3 this one. That's a double kill for Made, and another iconic duo is just trying to go for a quick pick, not using enough abilities and losing everything. In the end, Sleeping, he did die. Shred had to use all his abilities, use his summoner spell and his ultimate to secure that kill. That should have been a free kill for them bot lane before the fight even started. But this is something we see time and time again for Ostersunds FK, just overestimating how much damage they have.
Yeah, and looking at those sort of plays when you're trying to make the cross maps. You've got Vladimir top lane, you got Unforgiven and Ezreal in the middle lane, you're trying to make a bottom lane play with 3 people. You really need to keep track of the enemy globals, and they did not. Crystalline teleported in, and Quickset of course can come in with the Stand United, so they were just not respecting Ventus there.
The 1 versus 1, or rather the 2 versus 1 right here. Adept versus Priest Konet, and it's so close, but Adept managed to get the shutdown. 1 versus 2. Really wants to prove that he is the stronger mid laner between these two, and I gotta say, it's starting to look like it's true. Adept being a little bit behind Priest Konet with 5 assists, 30 CS up, and Adept still managing to force him into a fight. Quickset arriving with the ultimate, still not enough to save Priest Konet, who underestimates the damage Adept had. So yeah, I mean, this is still an interesting game between these two players, but for the rest of the team of Ostersunds FK, they're struggling to make anything happen. As I said, of course, Christ was able to get that bot lane turret and gets away.
I'm thinking about this mid lane 1 versus 1. I thought about before the game that, okay, I really got to keep track of this because both of them say that they are the stronger mid laner. So what is my opinion? What do I think? And so far, it's really hard to tell, actually, because both of them have been doing so well. This time, Priest Konet definitely have been able to make more plays happen, but in the 1 versus 1, Adept still gets the solo kill. And I gotta say, it's really easy to look good on a team that's already winning pretty hard. So, like, the jury's out, in my opinion, on who's the better mid laner between Adept and Priest Konet.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at these fights, I said Adept has been the one who was able to win both 1 versus 1 and 1 versus 2. I'm just saying that. But Priest Konet, when it just comes to playing with his team, having presence in the team fights, having that global presence, he has been much stronger than Adept on that side. But like you say, it's hard to really make that difference when distinction between these two, as Adept is playing with a team that's falling behind. So it's difficult to make those plays, much more difficult for him.
Yeah, it kind of goes for mid lane as well, but someone once said that looking good on a winning team when you're playing AD carry is the easiest thing in the world, and I kind of agree with that. Still Corki, looking good on Corki when your team is already winning pretty hard. Yeah, that's kind of easy, but it's still Priest Konet, of course, has been doing a really good job.
Could Corki be considered an AD carry?
Maybe.
Maybe.
He builds AD.
I mean,
he's a carry.
Exactly, he's a carry, although he deals magic damage. Someone explain that.
Wow.
All right, now...
Illuminati confirmed.
Now Baron is about to be set up. Christ, again, I mean, Quickset is everywhere with his ultimate, and I don't think Christ can survive this at all. There's no way he can get out. Sleeping picks up the kill. Of course, Quickset now being bot side could mean Ostersunds FK can set something up, finding Priest Konet here, but he has the package, managing to get out there unscathed. Marcoon using his Glacial Prison in that situation, although Priest Konet took a lot of damage in that situation. So still, ward cover landing in the hands of Ostersunds FK.
Yeah, those were 2 pretty big cooldowns getting used. They're both the Hemoplague and the Glacial Prison, and did not even burn the flash from Priest Konet. So I'd say that's still a win for Ventus. Just needs to recall with his Corki, or even just heal up with a Fleet Footwork, which is going to be going quite quickly for him. So Adept and Marcoon, they are playing pretty well together, but not able to make any sort of things happen.
I'm a little sad to see that Kreis was over-pushing down bot lane just a minute before the Baron spawn, because that means that really nothing the rest of his team could do with Quickset being down on bot side together with Sleeping. And now instead the Baron instantly going to be started by Ventus Esports. It goes down quickly.
Yeah, those ultis are cool down both from Vladimir and the Sejuani.
Friesland moving forward, Adept making a little bit of a misplay. Shred instantly jumping in, using his ultimate to make sure that they can get out, but this means that he doesn't have his ultimate if they want to go for a fight.
Yeah, you could see Adept right there wanting to right-click the ground to make his Vladimir run away, but instead right-clicked the Nidalee trap, so he started throwing the auto attack down. That is so slow on the Vladimir. It's one of as an old Vladimir player, like that auto is so dang slow.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Shred wants to move in again. He has around, I think, 60 seconds left on his quickening, so he won't be able to have that ability for quite a long time. The damage from Kreis is on point, though, managing to poke Friesland a little bit, and Friesland is slightly low on mana, still wants to go for this. Lucian is, of course, a spell slinger, so if you can deny him mana, he loses a lot of his power. Still going to go for this. Baron again, see how much damage they have with the Infernal Dragon. Ostersunds FK not in position at all. They have zero vision for this. Baron instantly started. Trusha Prosh is going to land. Baron going down low. Again, there's no real way to engage on this, and Baron goes down before the fight even can start. Jumping over the wall with Nidalee, and the Valkyrie is easy, but the shutdown yet again. Guess who?
It's Adept picking that up, but you can see there the Lich Bane Nidalee does so much damage to that neutral objective. You just proc that Lich Bane on cooldown with all of your short cooldowns, and you're able to pick that up. The mid lane tower is going to be the consolation prize here for Ostersund, but they are not happy at all. They're just going to be getting strangled to death here by Ventus when they're going to be pushing in with Quirky, Nidalee, and Lucian folk.
Absolutely. Since FK were able to secure a lot of vision at first around Baron when Quickseth and Sleeping were down bot lane, and then they sort of, even with that vision, just simply back off, don't dare to take any fights, don't really dare to do anything with their composition. They sort of use their abilities just to survive, and then when the team fights really arrive, or when the objectives are up, they don't have anything they can do. Shred was moving in towards that Baron, like kind of like trying to flex his muscles, be like, yeah, do I have ultimate or don't I? And everyone on Ventus Esports knew exactly that. He already used it. There's nothing that this Rakan can do. If he tries to use Battle Dance to jump in without quickening, he's going to die instantly. Marcoon used Lethal Prison earlier. There aren't that many things they can do with it.
Yeah, I think the big engage that you have to pray for is that Rakan with the acceleration gate from Jace. Of course, movement speed makes Rakan's engage so much quicker, so that is an option for them. A quicker quickening. And then have the Sejuani follow up as well, so they definitely have the tools to make it catch happen, but right now they're just losing the map slowly. They're going to be losing a third Cloud Dragon here as Mate starts that up. Unless Kreis can steal with a Q, actually takes Mate quite low.
Yeah, Mate actually
he's still squishy on this Nidalee.
He needs to run away a little bit, but still able to do this. He can heal himself up. I gotta say, I'm very impressed with Ventus Esports. Also finding Marcoon in the jungle, taunt, damage, and kaboom, there it goes. Still wanting to go for this fight, though. Turning it into a 3 versus 3, but with Marcoon dying before he can use his ultimate, not that many things can be done versus Friesland. He's on a rampage, picks up the double kill almost. Priest gonna be making sure that he gets this last one with the Baron buff, with the Baron empowered minions, now moving up to secure this turret. Teleport used as well. Turret goes down quickly with so many auto attacks in the air. Here comes the illusion. He's back again in black, making sure they get the inhibitor as well.
Yeah, Crystalline was so close to going down there. Adept almost able to make it happen on this Vladimir. Was like half a second on that Q coming up for Vladimir to take him down in the 1 versus 1, but then able to lifesteal up with the Blade of the Ruined King, recall and get in for the mid lane inhibitor. So this is of course a substantial lead for Ventus, and the Revan sending Quickseth to get a bit of a split push going here with a Shen. Not quite though, the team is with it, but still.
Yeah, but he's there to split push with his team.
Maybe that's not split pushing.
Yeah, exactly. When all of them are doing it, all the cool kills are doing it now. Alright, pushing down this turret now. This needs to be a fight started by Ostersunds FK unless they want to lose this slowly. Quickset taunting forward, not going to hit anything. Marcoon jumping away. Cold will be used by Kriesland. Just gonna poke this a bit, waiting for the super minion. Sleeping moving in as well together with Kreis. Priest now prodding and poking a little bit. Waiting for the next minion wave. Sleeping arriving. Priest doing a little good juke there to avoid the shock blast. Ward's been placed down mid lane and top lane. Moving in at the same time.
Rakan ulti is about to come up cooldown. They want to be looking for the engage here, because if you just sit here and let Ventus hit the towers and poke you down with Corki, Lucian, Italy, they're just going to be losing very slowly. So quickness is about to come up cooldown for Shred. If they can get Crisis to rotate up with the team as well, Sleeping is down bottom lane without the TP. So the rest of Ventus needs to be so careful, because the cooldown is now up for Ostersund. They want to look for the engage here.
Price moving back and forth. He's now going up towards the top side. Here it comes. Marcoon going in with the initiate on Creaseland, but no one finds the rest of the backline. Adept just now arriving, coming in with the Hemo Plague available. Needs to back out instantly. Not being able to survive it, just barely gets out, but Sleeping is dead, and he finds the snipe. He gets the kill, flashing forward. Finds the taunt together with Quickset as well, but Quickset is the first one to go down in that fight. Sleeping is alone now around. Teamstead comes in to help on the side. Unforgiven is there, but is it going to be enough versus Priest Kunat? He can't find a Priest Kunat with the crit, finishing the job, and there's the final pickup on Shred as well, and that is the ace. Ventus Esports wins this semi-final game 2-0 versus the Swedish Ostersunds FK.
And for the second time in a row, Crystalline is so extremely close to going down in one of those fights. If they would have been able to take down the Lucian, that could have turned the entire thing around. He was on a sliver of HP, but then Crystalline just showing why he might be the best player in the tournament. Those mechanics are on point. The life still comes in, and he survives and carries the entire game for his team.
Yeah, absolutely. Also Sleeping, finding that little snipe with his ultimate. Again, showing what we talk so much about this player. He kind of just keeps dying in the early game and be like, all right, now I remember I need to shape up. And then all of a sudden, it looks like he's been the one in the lead the entire game. He's behind like 100 CS and still has so much more pressure than Kreis. That's just being, in general, the better team with the better calls, with the better map control that Ventus Esports has been able to get. Still, Ostersunds FK, I think they played to all of their strengths. Really, they did everything that they were supposed to do. They got there, I'm gonna say it, the samurai castle, the analogy that you love so much. They got what they wanted, but they weren't able to build it up.
Yeah, they, like in game number 1, they had a really good game going for themselves and then not quite able to execute. Here in game number 2, Ventus just showed who were the better team. They got their pieces that they wanted, and then they were able to execute almost flawlessly within Italy, putting so much pressure on the right side of the map, always being 2 steps ahead of Ostersund at all objectives. You can see when bottom lane tower went down in favor of Ventus, there was still 2 plates left on the top side tower, and they got Dragon, then rotated top before Herald spawned, so they got Herald, and they got all the dragons and all the towers and all the gold, and in the end, they were just too far ahead.
Exactly, always playing the map, being not only just 1 step ahead, actually knowing exactly when the dragon spawns, going with the bot lane to pressure to get the turret, to be able to get up top. I mean, those are like 3 steps ahead. When Ostersunds FK, they get what they want, but their plan, I feel like, is just, okay, we're going to abuse Sleeping. We know that Sleeping will be pushing his lane, so we're just going to abuse that. We're going to sit on top of him, get Christ fed, and then what?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's the problem. Christ was definitely ahead a lot in his lane, and still, since rotations came out, and of course since Creaseland and Quickstep were able to get so far ahead in the bot lane, there weren't really anything the rest of the team could do. They were just faltering, and in the mid lane, Adept sure picked up the solo kill, or 1 versus 2 kill even, but then what? What are we going to do with this? That is what I want to see from Ostersunds FK in the future. I truly believe in this team. This is an up-and-coming team. I really enjoy having watched them play. They deserved this place in the semi-final. But I gotta say, Ventus Esports, they almost look unstoppable right now.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing in the finals in about a week if they are actually unstoppable. In slightly more than a week, they're going to be going up against the winners of next game. Who's playing, Sang?
The ones who are playing are Nordic versus the final tribe. And we will be back with that in a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.